United States intelligence has revealed shocking details about how an entire network of Iranian assassins was hunting American officials. Donald Trump and his top advisors, particularly former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, regularly faced assassination threats after the elimination of Qasem Soleimani. In addition, this is mentioned in a book that is about to be released in the United States called 2024: How Trump Took Back the White House and the Democrats Lost America. We will discuss the details of this story with you in this episode. My name is Alexei Pecci. Today is June 29th. Next, we'll go through everything step by step. But before we start, I ask you to subscribe to this channel, give it a like and write any comment you like. Also, subscribe to my Telegram channel, Pecci News. The link to it is in the description of this video. So, as Segodnya reports, Iran almost managed to organize the assassination of former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo in a European hotel in 2022. And in September of last year, intelligence officers informed then presidential candidate Donald Trump and his campaign that Iran had recruited assassins who were operating on American soil at that time. The security threats to Trump and his aides radically changed their practices and worldview. According to a report obtained by the Washington Post from the book 2024, How Trump Took Back the White House and the Democrats Lost America, most of the changes happened because of 2 assassination attempts that Trump survived in the final months of the campaign. But threats from Iran in particular seemed to instill fear and anxiety in the candidate and his aides, affecting their thinking on a daily basis and leading to major changes in Trump's schedule and movements. Authorities investigated whether any of the people involved in the assassination attempts had ties to Iran, but so far no connection has been found. These details provide new context to the president's decision last week to authorize a bombing aimed at destroying Iran's nuclear capabilities. Although it is not yet known to what extent these events influenced Trump's decision. The threats described in the book were not limited to Iran, and the book ends with Trump's inauguration in January, so it does not cover the possibility of any ongoing threats. Iranian assassins tried to kill American officials at least 3 times in the 3 years leading up to Trump's election, when his campaign for the presidency was gaining momentum. 2 of these attempts were widely reported, but the incident involving Pompeo in Paris had not been disclosed before. Also new in the book is the account that United States intelligence officials told Trump's team in September last year that Iran had assembled groups of assassins who continued to operate inside the United States. In 2022, the Iranians found out about the Paris hotel where Pompeo was staying and tried to kill him. He narrowly escaped there, according to the book. The book's materials are based on interviews with hundreds of people, including senior members of Trump's campaign, the White House, and law enforcement, as well as notes from that time, emails, calendar entries, and audio recordings. Pompeo's threat adds a new perspective to Trump's decision in January to revoke protection for his former national security advisor John Bolton and another top aide who faced threats from Iran. President Trump said at the time, "When you have protection, you can't have it for the rest of your life." And this, by the way, shows how Trump can endanger the lives of those he believes have betrayed him. When asked on Thursday this week whether the president is considering reinstating security measures for former officials, including Pompeo, given the increased tensions with Iran, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said, quote, "This is not being considered at this time." And here, in his book titled Never Give an Inch, published in 2023, Pompeo wrote that a member of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, accused of plotting to kill Bolton, also tried to hire a hitman to kill Pompeo for $1 million. Pompeo wrote that the plan was not unsuccessful and that, quote, "Potential perpetrators checked out homes and offices as part of their preparations." And here is Pompeo's full quote. "This threat is just one of many that my family and I have faced since Trump left office." Although the details were not discussed here, other Americans, some former Trump administration officials, some high-ranking American military leaders, and some ordinary Americans remain on Iran's kill list. The most troubling thing for us and our families is that Iranian assassination companies have no statute of limitations. Well, as it is written, Trump took an aggressive stance toward Iran during his first presidential term. He withdrew from the agreement with other Western countries, in which Iran committed to eliminate or reduce aspects of its nuclear program. He reinstated economic sanctions against Iran, and he ordered a military operation that resulted in the death of the commander of the Iranian Quds forces, Qasem Soleimani. This triggered numerous attempts by Iran to retaliate, starting with a series of missile strikes and then escalating to assassination plots, including one that targeted Pompeo. Previously reported attacks on United States soil were linked to Iran, including an incident in 2022 when a killer who had been assigned to murder an Iranian dissident made it to her front door in Brooklyn with a machine gun. That same year, United States authorities arrested a member of the Revolutionary Guard on charges of conspiring to kill Bolton. 2 years later, a day before Trump survived an assassination attempt at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, authorities arrested a Pakistani man who was planning to kill an American politician on behalf of Iran. In addition, the publication previously reported that Iran had established connections with criminal networks in the West to carry out its attacks, including hiring 2 members of the biker gang Hells Angels to participate in a plot against a former Iranian military officer living under an assumed name in Maryland, United States of America. After the bombings that took place last week, security officials from the United States and other Western countries said they expect Iran and its proxies to respond in a similar or possibly even harsher way than after the death of Soleimani. Iran was just one of many sources of security threats to Trump until 2024, but together these threats changed the way his company operated. Security personnel essentially turned Mar-a-Lago, Trump's home and private club in Florida, into an armed camp. They convinced Trump to fly on a decoy plane owned by Steve Witkoff, who is now his special envoy to the Middle East. The book says that Trump switched planes for at least one trip after Secret Service agents became especially concerned about his personal aircraft, which could have been vulnerable to surface-to-air missiles since it had fewer defense systems than. That day, his campaign staff boarded the plane and waited for him to join them. Instead, the door closed and Chrysla Sevita, one of Trump's campaign managers, explained what was happening and told everyone that Trump would not be flying with them. And then the team said that it was just a decoy. On other days, when Trump flew on his own plane, Secret Service agents started flying on decoy planes and driving down the runway behind him as he was taking off. As an extra precaution in case someone tried to shoot at the plane, Trump's team started meeting at Mar-a-Lago for security checks instead of gathering at the airport. And one day, as described in the book, an agent shouted at the staff as they were boarding the plane, "Get on the plane as quickly as possible and don't stick your heads out." Nevertheless, Trump became the target of 2 assassination attempts. One was at a rally in Butler on July 13th when a bullet grazed the candidate's right ear, and the second was on September 15th. In West Palm Beach, Florida, authorities arrested a man who pointed a rifle at the golf course where Trump was playing, and who left a note saying that he intended to kill him. United States authorities also warned Trump's team, according to a book about poison and drones. They said that Trump shouldn't touch phones while taking selfies with supporters in case opponents use them to expose him to chemical weapons. Well, the book also describes an episode when an unknown drone was following Donald Trump's motorcade, but nothing happened in the end. The book also describes that on September 24th of last year, national security officials informed Trump at Mar-a-Lago that there were several groups of suicide terrorists from Iran in the country. As was later reported, the United States authorities arrested an Iranian agent. 6 weeks later, in November 2024, it was stated that the suspect had received instructions from Iranians to conduct surveillance and prepare a plot to assassinate President-elect Donald Trump. The book itself will be released in July, and I think there will be a lot more interesting things to read there. For now, I'll leave it at that. Share your opinion and your thoughts about what you've heard in the comments, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like the video. That's all for now. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye, everyone.